This is episode 226. It has a name and everything.
That's the name.
Welcome to the Tone Control. Sit down.
Ding.
Oh shit.
I'm turning my other lights on.
Spooky story time. It's like we're punching your shit.
This is a Halloween edition of the Tone
And
Control.
then they recorded a podcast.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Tone Control, Justin.
Hey fam, smash that bell. What?
Hey fam. Is that what we're going to start calling our fans, our community? Hey fam.
Hey fam. Probably not. Not if we don't want to get not if we still want to have a fam. Because that's pretty annoying.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm on paternity leave now.
Mm-hmm.
And today's Monday, so
Yep.
Today starts my second week of paternity leave, and it's the first few days we're like, this is really hard. This is really hard.
Yeah.
This is really hard, because even when Beth was off, there were two adults in the house. I work at home, so there were two of us, and for a few minutes I could take him, or just like we could talk and communicate and figure out whatever we needed to do.
You
and now
had
there's
another option at any moment,
Yeah.
right? Yes.
Yeah, and
I know
and
what you're talking about.
now it's like, we are equal numbers, me and the babies. So it's like, I can't, unless he's sleeping, I can't not be around,
Yeah.
And he's alert and awake and like a baby now. And so he's like, if I put him in his like thing in the living room and then head into the kitchen to do some dishes or something, he doesn't like that because I'm not around.
Hey!
So he starts like, and like he doesn't like overly cry and stuff, but he'll just like, just sit there and whine and okay. So stuff like that, like that's just taking getting used to. Like it's just the, what can I do with one hand while I hold him?
Right.
What can I put off till he's napping? And then like the nap schedule's like finally starting to lock in, and
good.
We're figuring out a routine with each other. So the first few days he was like, got a lot of you today. Like, what's going on here?
It's like, I was expecting something different.
Yeah, I think the first week he was like, I'm a little bored of this. Where's the other one?
Yeah.
But he's starting to see the routine now, which is cool. So, but he's asleep in the other room. Hopefully he stays that way. We'll see. The pattern right now is like, nobody cares about this. I just realized. The pattern right now is put him to sleep, and within 5 minutes, you just need some reassurance that he is in fact asleep. You do that, and then he's good. So
he needs reassurance that he's asleep.
Yeah, it's like his mind and his body aren't communicating because they're not, because he's 3 months old.
I get it. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So he's like, he's asleep, but his brain isn't, or his body isn't, or both, or one or the other. And you just got to go and be like, no, you got it, dog. Like, you're doing great.
No, this is correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's fine.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. But
that sounds pretty good.
All's good. Having a little like, I don't know. I'm off work, so it's like, what are my days filled with? I handed in the last of my grad school assignments last Friday, as of the recording of this show, and I'm just waiting for grades now. And it's every time my phone dings, I'm like, oh my god, is this it? Is this the grade? So school is out forever, Mike. Yes, you're right. And I'm just waiting for grades and stuff, and it's been a really nerve-wracking week or so because this final assignment I had to hand in was like massive, and it's worth a lot. And the stakes of grading that assignment are very high. And, it's like 5 criteria and they're all pass fail. And it's just like, this is it. We're really down to the wire here. But waiting, feeling good about it. But just like, can somebody just like read my thing and get back to me today, right now, please? So once that's over, that'll probably be done by the end of next week. I'll truly be like, oh, like I can just get my life back, which is weird. I'm just like, I haven't talked to any other adults today, so this is what's happening. I'm just like rambling.
You're dumping, yeah.
I started school in April of 2020, right at the pandemic, like really cranking up. So I have this feeling of like, oh, I've got all like my life back, my free time back and stuff, but I lost it anyway because of the pandemic. So that's a weird thing to think about. But anyway, that's enough about me.
Yeah, that's funny. Like I have a very specific memory about like the feeling that you're talking about. It's like, it's not that you haven't been with your kid and stuff, but suddenly it's all you. Like there is this delayed response where it's like you're kind of doing all the stuff, and then at some point it's like, okay, you're on your own for a little while. And one of the very first times that I was on my own for a little while and wife was gone, we had new food for her. I don't know if I've ever told this story, but anyway, we had like, they have these different stages of baby food. This is the baby food control, the baby control. The different. So anyway, the point is like, they start to introduce like more chunks of solid stuff after a little while. It's like the stage 3. It starts to have chunks of stuff. It's like when yogurt has fruit in it, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like that. And we were like, okay, you know, she's like ready for that. We're going to get her on. So this is what I have. And I go to give her some and she absolutely will not eat it. She's like,
and it's like the only food you have, right?
We were out of everything else. Yeah. I didn't make her try it before I was out of everything else. And I completely freaked out. I had like a super instinctive moment where I was in complete panic and I couldn't think straight. Like I had this, I can't feed my kid, which lives on to now, right? I am extremely calm about most things that happen. And I'm the one who's like, let's just chill. Let's wait and see what happens. You know, all these little things.
Take a beat.
There, she just tipped off her bike. Like I don't leap up off the curb, you know what I mean? Like these things like that, except if I think she doesn't have food or something like that, I don't know why. What is it about? But
it's a survival thing, you know, food and shelter,
like,
you know?
That's the thing for me. It's like, my kid can't eat. Oh my God. And of course, I was reminded later, like eventually like the panic subsided and I found some applesauce or something. And I was like, first of all, my kid's not going to starve for a few hours, you know?
Yeah, like but this isn't the end.
and then Marielle comes home and she goes, you could just put her in the car. And I was like, I don't think you understand. Brain disappear. Cannot do.
Like today, the thing I'm dealing with now is like really trying to lock in how long he's awake before offering a nap, like before he's tired.
Yeah.
And doing all that stuff, which leaves very little time.
Schedule,
very little time to like go out in the world. So today we had to like run to the post office. And like, it's just down the road. Not far, but it was like, finish your bottle. We got to go now.
Oh, shoot. Hold on. Speaking of, what did you say, hon? Say again.
I need a water cup.
You know how to get that for yourself, hon. And eventually they're 7 and they still ask you for stuff like a cup. She knows what I'm doing. She knows she's interrupting me for attention right now. Anyway.
So anyway, that's what's going on. He was a rock star with naps today, just for the record. Gonna throw that out there.
Yeah.
But that's about all that's been going on. You know, I'm in a little different kind of survival mode. Like it's going well, but it's just my mind is like a single track.
Right.
So I haven't really been playing guitar, honestly. That part kind of stinks. But getting there.
Well, I don't think I have any really interesting stories.
I went to see our friend.
My car needs work, but I can't schedule it because they won't call me back.
Too. Oh, God damn it. So that's another thing. My birthday's on Saturday, which means in October, in New Hampshire, in your birthday month, which, you know, October, I have to do my car registration and inspection and stuff. And I keep putting it off real bad. I'm usually like the first of the month with that. And I've obviously been a little busy. So anyway, I was going to say, I went to see our friend Jonas's band, Jonas and Andy's band.
Yeah, we saw pictures.
On Saturday. They do, they're a cover band and they were really super tight. They had a fully digital setup. So Jonas was using his Fractal FM3 and a Boss. I think it's an SY. I don't know the number. Like a big Boss synth rig, and it was. He had a MIDI SY200, right? And he had a MIDI pickup on the guitar and stuff that was feeding that in. And the other guitarist, I think his name was Matt. He was playing a Helix rack, and he had the floor controller for it, which is just like the foot switches from a Helix basically. Mm-hmm. And they sounded great. They have the digital mixer, like the Behringer digital mixer that they bring with them.
X32. Mm-hmm.
Yep, they have one of those, and they haul it around. All wireless in-ears for the whole band, like just tight, super, just wicked, really cool. So that was a good time. Saw some people I haven't seen in a while. It was like a Halloween bash emo night show thing. So lots of fun old songs and a good time.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's killer. Yeah. Those rig things are, I mean, you can, like, everybody can have an iPad to mix their own monitors and stuff if they wanted to go that far. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Somebody asked me once if I could teach them how to use one of those. I was like, I mean, I could probably work it out, but you don't want me to take the time to do that.
Well, first, yes, but first I have to learn it.
No, I did do a consulting thing where I was like, it was like can you show me how to use this board? It was like a giant Mackie board. He was like, this guy was like, I bought this board and I'm totally confused. Can you help me? And I was like, well, I'm not really in the live sound scene very much. Like, I get how consoles work and I'm sure I can figure it out, but like, there must be somebody better. And he got back to me like a week later and he's like, nobody was. So I was like, okay, as long as you totally understand, like, I'm nervous in situations like that. Like, I don't know if I can provide enough value, but I'm not going to like lower my rate because of that. You know what I mean? Because that's not really how that works. So I was like, I have to be honest with you and you have to accept it. And then I'm going to do it the damn best that I can. And it was fine. Like, it was really a bunch of monitor routing stuff, which is confusing on that board because it's not really a live sound board. Interestingly, for Mackie, they don't have monitor faders and stuff like that. He plugged some things in that was labeled monitor, and it super doesn't work for that. For some reason, they called something monitor that really is only good for like a headphone mix of the guy who might be on a secondary board on stage mixing the monitors for the artist.
Oh,
you know what
annoying.
I mean? And it's like, what? Okay. I found that in the menu and I was like, Mackie, what the fuck? So I was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to use submixes to send to the, and it doesn't make sense by the text, but that way, here's your front speakers, here's your back speakers, and they're all on faders. And he was like, okay, this makes sense. So anyway, that's weird story time land. That we're doing. I don't know if that's bad or good. It's probably fine, right?
Oh, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Nice.
So, I kept meaning to get in here and add stuff to the show notes because I had a couple things I wanted to talk about, but I never did because I was busy holding a baby all day.
Right.
So I was, without enough time making dinner and stuff. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to ask Justin what he wants to do. And the frame of this is that one of the things is something I think Justin will really like. And the other one is something I think Justin really won't like.
Both of those turn out to be quite fun whenever we do them.
And so I'm curious if how you want to decide which one to do first. You can just pick.
Wow.
I have a D20 here on my desk. We could roll for initiative.
Ooh.
we could leave it up to the chat. And we'll cut it in half with Pedal Genie in the middle and go from there. So
okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to play our little intro sound and then we're going to pick.
Thanks to Pedal Genie for sponsoring the tone control. Visit pedalgenie.com and start your wish list today.
Cheers, Pedal Genie.
Yay. So what do you say? You want to roll it for a 10 or higher? And
yeah, let's roll a D2 on your desk right now.
A D2, which is flip a coin.
1 through, yeah, it's like 1 through 10, 11 through 20. Yeah.
Okay. Which is?
Oh, right. I had sort of forgot about that aspect of this.
We'll pick a number and be like, okay, so which one is it?
Low is the one that you think I'll hate.
Okay, here we go.
All right, yeah, bad is low.
We rolled a 14.
Oh, all right. So what we're doing is we're setting up Happy Justin and then closing the show with Rage Justin.
I mean, it's not like
Right.
rage. It's just something I would think like you're going to have a fun take on.
It's not a story about Gibson. Okay, no, that's fine.
No, it's not.
Fine.
I'm putting the link in the chat.
Okay.
So I have a full set of D&D dice on my desk right now.
Excellent.
So,
oh my
yes,
God,
it's
I
casual.
saw something the other day. One of my friends who, we have a little D&D crew. We play, we try to play once a month. We don't usually get to it once a month. But anyway, somebody shared in our chat a set of dice. So it's the basics. It's the 20, the 6, the 8, and the 10. And
there's also a 4 you need.
They have a... Oh yeah, or G4. That might have been there
So
too.
the pyramid shaped one.
I guess technically the 10 would be not that important. Anyway, I can't remember if
the
it was a
10
set
is
of 4
for
or
rolling
5.
percentages. It's got like 90.
Well, there's
80
actually
on it.
there's some weapons that use a 10 for some of their hit dice.
okay.
So anyway, I can't remember if it was a set of 4 or 5. Maybe it was 5. But it had a charge case, okay, like true wireless earbuds do. Because these are RGB dice. They light up, and you put them in their charge case when you are not using them. And I didn't dig into it enough to see, but obviously the killer feature would be that it would flash different colors. It would have an accelerometer so that it would know what it rolled. Because when I roll a crit on that D20, I want it to really like flash,
like rave,
turn to different colors.
I saw some that it was a D20 that on the 1 it said fuck, and on the 20 it said yeet.
Yeet. Oh my goodness.
Okay. I can talk more about this later, but anyway, yes.
Okay.
So I put a link in the chat. We're going to talk about the variable treble bleed from Mythos, and I think I casually mentioned this to you.
Love this. Okay.
I think I mentioned this to you at some point. Maybe we were talking with Alex. I don't quite remember when this came up.
Okay.
But this is, it's a variable treble bleed that you solder into your guitar. It has a bunch of dip switches inside and, some double stick tape. And you just quickly zip this thing onto your volume pot. And there's 4 dip switches and all these different combinations for you to try a bunch of different treble bleed configurations on your guitar.
Okay, I see. So we've got, wow. Are there 8 caps in this?
It seems like it, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe there isn't 8, but there's enough that are different. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then there's a 150. There's a 250. So there's at least 5. So there's 5 caps for like a total of 8 combinations. Just by my counting. Okay.
Yeah. So,
wow.
It'll go into parallel with your volume pot, but and so there's like 2 solder pads on this thing, and then 4 dip switches, and you can connect the lug. Like either pad can be connected to lugs 2 and 3 on your pot, and you're good to go. And then it's got some sticky tape on the back, and you just stick it inside the cavity.
Yeah, they're not electrolytic.
But like, how good an idea is this?
Yeah.
And it's only $15.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like you can very quickly experiment with all kinds of treble bleeds, including just like finding one you like and leaving it in there.
Yeah.
Or, go get like a super nice version of whatever it's demonstrating to you.
Right. Yeah. You could use it just as like a test thing. Cause that's the other thing is like this is one place where like a paper and oil kind of cap will sound different. Like I did try a few things, not just different values, but like something that's like, expensive for a capacitor, something that costs several dollars instead of like a few cents.
A few cents.
Does actually make a difference. So yeah, that would be the real way to use this, I guess. But trying this out, like they're saying, like you get interactions depending on the taper of your volume pot, depending on the amp, because that's actual voltage. So there is differences in things about the way it's going to hit your amp. It's not just how much treble is left.
Right.
There's a little more to it than that. So different amps might have different interactions, and being able to check it like this.
And he says here on the site, if you like your guitar volume pot taper or interaction with your pedal board and or guitar amp, you may not like this. So for kind of full disclosure, make sure you know what you're in for, I guess. And it's not like it's an irreversible thing. You just take it out. But
yeah, you're subbing this in for whatever cap was there to begin with.
Yeah. But I mean, talk about a really good price point, like a super easy solder in. Like it's not a a huge mod to do to your guitar, but it
$15.
Yeah. Right? I mean,
I'm having the same reaction that I did to Alex. Like, are they trying to not make money off of this? Like, I'm wondering, like, because $25 we'd have been like, oh, this is a great fucking deal.
Oh yeah,
I mean, know what I mean. I don't know. Anyway, that's fine.
That's it. That's all there really is to talk about with this thing. So should we say what a treble bleed is? That probably would be good.
Hold on, glowing dice set. We found it. Yep, this is oh, look at that. There's way more than this is the whole set.
Dang, only $30?
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that. What is this one? Oh, the faces instead of the numbers. Oh, totally different.
I like
feel.
that, yeah.
I wonder,
a lot. Like, does it just know? Like, will on a crit?
I don't think it
always do something cool. It should do something cool. They'd have to be
they just light up, and you can change their color or something like that.
Wicked.
Anywho, we don't need to be okay. Done with the Amazon page. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Anyway,
all right.
So a treble bleed. On most guitars don't have a treble bleed. So when you turn the volume down on your guitar, what's happening? If you listen closely, if you're not, for the uninitiated, you're losing high end when that happens. And some people like that, and some people don't. And a treble bleed will allow the high end to pass through still, and it can just make all your shit sound different. It's a personal preference thing. It is there's not a right way for this. I don't think I have any of my guitars now that
it comes down to. I do have one on my Telecaster, but if you're using volume knob before a drive to get different levels of drive, this is where you can get kind of a strange interaction where it starts to muddy up when the volume's quite low. So you put the treble bleed on, and essentially what that's doing is it's adding some low filtering. So it's actually it's not so much adding treble, it's actually like subtracting a bit of lows, and depending on the value of that capacitor versus your pickups and all those interactions, you got to find the right spot where it's sort of filtering enough low end at the right rate, at the right curve, so that it kind of stays normal or stays the way you want it. So I was using basically a volume turn downer to be my like low gain version, and this made it not muddy once I found the right value. I'm just kind of stayed the same. So that's the idea. And of course that would work for whatever amp if it happened to require that. For some guitars, I think for different impedances, sometimes it might not matter, but that's generally, I think, the scenario where it'll stick out the most to you is if you're using it to turn down a drive, because you'll notice it not being as crispy or something when turned down. So
and so there's a lot of different combinations of parts you can throw in your guitar to get this to happen. And many years ago, Justin was just swapping parts in and out at cost and at hassle and all that stuff.
I think I only got 4 values. I picked out like the 4 most common values. Ones. Yeah, and like I think I tried an orange drop, and I might have gotten 2 different kinds of each or something like that. I didn't try out like 6 caps though. Like I just kind of popped one in and saw it. But the thing, it was a solder desolder in order to compare every single time. There wasn't a better way for me to do it. So
so this is cool. It's got the dip switches. It's easy. You just flip in there with a screwdriver or honestly your guitar pick and change it up. Mike is saying he's not sure if he has any treble bleeds, but Reverend guitars, he has a Reverend, have a bass roll-off knob. They call it like a bass contour switch or knob.
Oh, instead of a... So whereas a tone control, sorry, almost blew that.
I don't know where my bell is, sorry.
A tone control is basically a high filter that starts to roll off high end. So this is the inverse of that, right? That's awesome.
Yeah, basically. And I think most, if not all, Reverends have that.
Yeah. Well, good.
Cool.
Fuck them. Yeah.
I see Reverends everywhere, dude. Everybody's fucking playing Reverends.
Are they? I didn't see any today.
Around here, there. I saw one on friggin' Saturday. Everybody's playing them. Matt and Delaney has one.
Yeah.
Or from Delaney had. He still has it. What's the tense there?
Well, Delaney is the thing that is the past tense.
Right. He said
not the guitar,
with approaching.
and not
He said approaching a master's degree in English.
Somebody in one of the Discords that I'm in used a bunch of commas in a phrase. They were actually entirely separate phrases that they joined with commas. So what they did was made a run-on sentence, right?
A comma splice.
A comma splice. And then they said Oxford commas used for effect. And I had to, and that puts me in a position. That puts me in a position because now I have to decide, am I going to call you out right now? Or am I going to pretend to have been doing something else and missed this?
That's some bullshit right there.
That's what I chose to do. I decided to ignore it.
Yeah, I mean, I probably
engage.
wouldn't have engaged either, but Oxford comma is life.
Actually, well, first of all, yes. I appreciate the support. Oxford comma.
Oh, yeah, but also
that's not what that is. And now it makes me think that anytime they see a comma used more than once in a sentence, they think that's an Oxford comma or something. And
oh, God,
I don't know.
No.
Are they diluting the glory that is the Oxford comma when they do that, or are they promoting it? Is it just like name awareness? Like an electoral candidate? They just need to see their name on a bunch of signs.
It's election season, of course.
Yeah, we filled out our ballots yesterday.
New Hampshire is rampant with legal litter for the season, basically. Yeah. So,
do you get the phone calls?
I've been getting a lot of blocked missed calls on my phone. Like I have blocking unknown callers. So.
I get calls and texts.
I get a lot
all
of texts.
the time about New Hampshire politics. All the time. And by the way, most of them think I'm Heather and occasionally some other female, typically female name that starts with H.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It's real weird, but because I still have a New Hampshire phone number. But anyway, they are all the time.
See, I have a Connecticut phone number and
fill me in about New Hampshire politics. Stuff. Yeah.
Every ad that runs a pre-roll or a mid-roll on YouTube or Hulu or wherever, it's all politics now. It's just friggin', it's awful. It's awful. This is one of those things I sometimes say, like, if I ever ran for president or if I ever ran for office, I would run on this issue, right? Which is things like make taxes easier to do, just like, fuck it. Like, can we, okay?
Simplify the tax code. That's the real word for that.
Then fucking no political signage, like in the wild, please. Okay, because like everybody hates that.
Only public campaign funding.
Yeah.
No private campaign funding whatsoever.
Like I'll drive by an empty lot on the way to the grocery store, and it's just the sidewalk, like the frontage of the street is just one after the other. Rapid fire political signs. Like, what is this? And nobody comes to collect them.
Right. So like what Eric's saying, our signs were, so there are laws about that, by the way, about how you have to have your signs collected within 7 days after an election. And they never are.
It should be 48 hours. And are signs really doing anything for anyone?
Are they swaying your vote? But that's the thing.
It's name awareness. That's it. But
they're not swaying the vote of anyone who's actually thinking, who do I want to vote for? But what they do is you have to have your name appear in people's memory, or because I feel like between 40 and 60% of the population of this country knows so little about it that literally that's what they're doing is they're looking at a list of things. If they turn up
especially
at all,
when it comes down to names. So many people don't participate in local elections too. So sure. When at least
what's
national
going on
level
this year, it's like all
and like national
offices.
level, it's easier to stay in touch with, I think, and local stuff, it's just people blow it off way more often. So
even though it probably affects them more,
it probably affects them a lot more, but
shit all trickles up. All our districts around here. By the way, this is. We're gonna go from this rage, Justin, to the other one immediately after. All the districts around here are weird spaghetti squiggles. They've totally
all been gerrymandered.
Gerrymandered. It's ridiculous. In fact, they just changed ours, and we looked up a map of it last night because there were a few candidates on there where we were like, we didn't think we were in that district, and then I look, and it's like sort of a weird cursive R, and we're like. If according to Google, we're actually outside of that border by 2 streets, but they still sent us that ballot because we remote the whole thing.
We did too.
Can't be bothered with that shit.
No. Bobby Newport's never had a real job in his life. Like every ad on TV
I've
is.
seen that ad.
Yeah.
I've seen exactly that ad. There's one around here. There's some lady who they're
sorry, that's from Parks and Recreation. If you're not familiar,
that's why I've seen it. That's fucking Ant-Man, isn't it? Bobby Newport is Ant-Man, and I totally forgot. Yes. Oh my God.
Paul Rudd.
I was
Bobby
so ready
Newport.
I was
the way they just sit around the living room.
That was in my brain. That was name recognition. It was in my brain. I was ready to accept that as a New Hampshire politician.
And you just didn't recognize it's actually a joke from a sitcom.
Yeah, because it's not a joke from a sitcom. It's actual real life.
Yeah, the gifts in the chat. I'm against crime, and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
I wonder what we'd get out of Bobby Newport. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the Mythos thing. Look it up. It's the variable treble bleed. Let's move over to Pedal Genie.
You want to see it again? Here it is again. All right, great. Let's move over to Pedal Genie. We're really good at our jobs, guys.
Guys. Okay. The gift call tonight. Justin won the gift call tonight, actually.
Well, see, there's a campaign now in the Discord to have it changed to Bobby Newport.
No. That's not how this works. I want to see the gifts for Justin's category, quote, wild ass.
Wild ass. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you just head on over to General Chat because I picked my clip from the Planet Earth series of David Attenborough saying that. And that's all you got to know. It's my favorite clip of that whole series. I mean... Yep, no, I'm not taking it back. It's my favorite clip of that whole series. All right, let's thank the Genie.
Right. Wild ass, everybody.
Pedal Genie is like the Netflix of guitar pedals. Rent any pedal you want for as long as you want, for one low monthly price. Shipping is included and there are no late fees or time limits. With over 1,500 pedals to try from nearly 100 different manufacturers, Pedal Genie definitely has the gear you want to try. Subscriptions start with Flex at just $22 a month. Try out one pedal at a time for as long as you want. Send it back when you're ready for the next one. For only $47 a month, the standard subscription includes shipping, so you could have a different pedal every few days. If one isn't enough for you, Pedal Genie Pro gets you 3 pedals at a time for only $77 a month. Shipping included. There's a subscription for everyone, and best of all, your first month is free. If you find the pedal of your dreams, the one you just have to keep, Pedal Genie will offer you a buyout option. Prices vary with the length of your membership and the type of pedal, but you'll definitely get an awesome price for the pedal in your hand. So head to pedalgenie.com to fill up your wish list with pedals, and they'll send out your first pedal ASAP. Pedal Genie. All your pedal wishes granted.
Oh my God, my dog does that. So what's funny, like that looks like, doesn't that look like it could be... Oh my God. My dog puts her butt on the other dog's face when she's trying to get him to play with her. Like she's trying to rile him up because he's kind of an old man. He doesn't always hop to.
Hey, check out this asshole.
and she'll like, she'll get all up on him and then she'll spin around and like put her butt like on his face. Get right in there, you know?
Get after it.
Oh my God, the cat with the cats have like an organ in the roof of their mouth that helps them process smells or something. It has like a name and everything. It's like an organ that non-felines don't have.
I'm pretty sure it has a name.
It has a fucking name, Derek. But that's why they sniff something and they go, and they like hold their mouth like that because they're like trying to.
Can you do that again for the audio listener?
I doubt it. Sorry, I just saw the one with the car driving over the dad. Yeah, so anyway, so the cats, they take...
Thanks for that.
Okay.
Thanks for that. Hey, I don't have a pedal because I held on to the Dimension C way too long, and I said I was going to do a demo, and I just didn't, so I sent it back, and I was like, for the spirit of the podcast, I owe it to ourselves to just get a new pedal, just start over. So no demo for the Dimension C, but,
I don't have a pedal either, and I'm absolutely certain now that after four full weeks, now I'm sure after all this testing that it's because I don't have any pedals on my wish list. If you want, we can use this time to go to my wish list and pick out some new pedals, but I suggest maybe we just move on with our lives.
Yeah. Mike says random pedal demo, grab one without looking. I think most of my pedals are in my office, actually. There's like 3 or 4 that are downstairs.
Can we do a couple of 5-second demos?
I don't have any of my shit hooked up.
Okay. All right.
Because I didn't have a demo. I didn't plug in my amp or anything. So, no, we can't.
1-second demos, the YouTube shorts.
This is what... There you go. That's what it sounds like when you turn it on.
Coat?
Yeah, it is. Okay. Hey, thanks. Hey, thanks, Pedal Genie.
Thanks.
And
I promise tomorrow morning I will fill out my wish list. I promise. Okay.
Cool. So, the next thing is stuff I'm pretty sure Justin would hate.
It's going to be
maybe not
really bad.
Well, I hope it's like, I don't know, maybe you're going to love it. I don't fucking know.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
You may have seen this already. New pedals from PRS.
I have not seen this already.
Okay. PRS
Unless it's
has
the
entered
ones that were from many months ago. Because I was pretty sure.
No, PRS has entered the pedal market. And why don't you go ahead and open that up and just like talk to me about the names and stuff.
The Miley Cyrus. Nope, that's not what that says. I can't come up with any other funny ones.
So, okay.
Okay. What do we... this is not what I've seen before. So, okay.
Okay,
wonderful.
so these did just drop. PRS has 3 new pedals on the market. An overdrive, a compressor.
Before? Is that what I was thinking of? Okay, I think that's what I was thinking of.
So, an overdrive, a compressor, and a dual flanger. And
okay, I did at first think this said "wind through the ass," and I know that's because I was very much influenced. And horse meat, of course, I read instantly that you can't dyslexic horse meat; it's already horse meat.
Yeah. So, like, Justin, I got to ask you: have you ever hated something just because of the name?
I think so.
Like music, like gear wise, like have you ever not chosen to not get something or thought like this was a mistake?
Oh, man. Well, there's you
Derek,
you got to understand there is so much gear that I've never bought.
Oh, of course, we're right. But like, have you seen something come out by a brand that you
I would have liked if it wasn't the name?
You think like, oh, that might not be a great choice.
Yes, but I'm struggling so bad to think of an example.
So I think. So here's the thing. I think naming an overdrive pedal horse meat is a mistake. That's all.
You think so?
I don't know. I think it's kind of like, look at the crazy name we put on this. And also it's a fucking stupid name. Like, let's not sugarcoat this. It's garbage.
Yeah. And I don't think it fits with the other two. So so as a set, I think we can definitely say something about this. So Wind Through the Trees and Mary Cries.
Wind Through the Trees like
coexist. I feel like those could be like part of the same feel of the branding of these pedals.
Like the pedal, the universe these pedals existed within.
Like this would work for me. It's like, you know how all the Earthquaker pedals, like there's something about the title of a pedal, like from Earthquaker or from Wampler to a certain extent. Earthquake, what is the other one I'm thinking
Audio?
of? That is exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Walrus, they definitely like, you know, all their pedals, you're like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense that the pedal is called that, right?
The naming brand, or the name branding rather. Sorry, yes.
Name branding, right? What is that called? Like it's not iconography or something like that, but it is part of that whole situation, right? That a brand has a feel to it. They have like
a brand
an identity.
Yeah.
So brand identity, Wind Through the Trees. Okay. Mary Cries. Sure. Okay. There's an identity here. I'm getting. It's, you know, it's sort of whatever it is, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Horse meat. Nope.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the other two are fine. Wind Through the Trees is just simply too long. I don't think a pedal should have 4 words.
That it's fine.
If print's fine. Yeah. Like to have, I don't know. Mary Cries. I want to know more about that as a name because like, The Wind Cries Mary. Like, why did they name the optical compressor that? Like, is it somehow adjacent to the Jimi Hendrix song? Like, you know what I mean? I just horse meat. I don't know. God,
and it's a transparent overdrive too. First of all, what the fuck is a transparent overdrive?
Let's pull this curtain way back. Yeah, what the fuck does that actually mean anymore? It means nothing.
Is a transparent overdrive. You could have a transparent boost. So, I'm okay with. Is this a boost, or is it an overdrive?
The meaning behind it originally being that it didn't affect like the EQ shape. Like a tube screamer is not a transparent overdrive. It has a major EQ situation on its own, right?
Overdrive is necessarily not transparent. Overdrive is gain that has exceeded the electrical capability of a circuit.
in the
so
case
it's not
of this,
linear anymore. Like it's changing. Like there is nothing transparent about something if it's overdrive. So I don't buy it.
Yes, I don't disagree, but I think the terminology of transparent overdrive is more to do with EQ than it is to do with whether it's gainy or not. So does that make sense? I'm not justifying this.
I know what you are saying to me, but it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't have to.
It's not because of you. That's what I want to be clear about. Okay.
Also, it's got a 2-band EQ on it. So how transparent is it? I don't know. I'm just saying.
It's as transparent as if you leave those knobs alone, apparently.
So I think the name I've heard.
Why would it be called horse meat?
I have an answer for that.
First of all, what's transparent about horse meat? Tell me about this.
If you cut it thin enough. So I had seen some interviews with Paul.
That's so fucked up. It's like you're at the deli.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, thinner. You could do it. You could do better.
Thin it's only got one side.
Yeah. What is it? Well, one-dimensional horse meat.
It's a Mobius strip of horse. Hang on, I gotta write that down. So he said that they were talking about the Klon Centaur.
I'm sorry, who said? I think I was shouting over you.
Paul Reed Smith himself. They were talking in some interviews about like this pedal lineup, and the joke or the saying or whatever it was that this pedal quote eats Klon Centaurs for breakfast, and the Klon having the Centaur graphic on it. People call it horsey. So it's like a jab at the Klon, sort of, but it's like, how can you call it a transparent overdrive and also not nod at the Klon in general, which is known as basically the transparent overdrive that started this whole bullshit naming thing? And call it horse meat?
But if this pedal is horse meat, then like this pedal is the Klon after it's been butchered?
After it's been eaten by this pedal, which is named horse meat?
Rendered into, from no longer is it a centaur, now it is horse meat, which means it has been cleaved from the animal.
Yes. I don't know if I could own a pedal that was named horse meat. Like if it was on my pedal board, I'd be a little weird if somebody was like, tell me about horse meat here. And I'd feel a little embarrassed.
Okay. Let me come at this from the east now, right? Let's from a different angle. What is unique about any of this, right? Because so what we have here is we have a known guitar gear brand that is entering pedals. So this is like any of these people who they haven't been making pedals up until now, they're going to throw themselves into the pedal thing, and there's an initial offering. This is the initial offering. So it's either the Amazoning of it, and they're just we've got a little bit of everything so you can make your whole board out of us. In which case, no established guitar person is going to be like, I'm going to get in there, right? Instead, it's more like somebody who doesn't have stuff yet. It's going to be the guy who's a PRS fan and doesn't have a bunch of pedals. Oh, look, PRS has pedals. Like that guy exists, right?
Yes.
And they're going to buy all these.
What if I told you horse meat was $250?
I just don't think the market can sustain that. I just think there's so many other good meats that don't cost that much.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not
like we were talking with Alex
Kobe
last
beef.
week. Yeah, we're like we were talking
Can't
with
command
Alex
that price
about
for
like
that. I don't
how
care
do
who cooks it.
This is like true, but also like a funny metaphor, but it's true.
It is true. So yeah, like who's gonna buy this? Okay, so the optical compressor. Okay, that's not super common.
I think you mean Mary Cries. He did say that this is basically an LA2A in a pedal.
Well,
it's
no, it's fucking not. Of course not. The LA2A, the only like saying an LA2A is saying that any optical compressor is an LA2A. That's just because it's like that's the topology. Like an LA2A is not a generic opto compressor. It has a bunch of tube stages and giant transformers, and that's why it takes up 2U of rack space. It's not because you can fit it into a pedal if you feel like it. So this is an opto
right, they're
compressor.
Not
this
that
is
big
not an
for
LA2A. Fuck.
Yeah.
And that's stupid anyway. Like that's not. Oh, anyway. Okay. It's an opto. Like whatever. This is an opto compressor that I made from a kit. Yeah. Okay. It's simple.
Well, Justin, apparently it's an LA2A.
Yeah. Guess what? It's fucking not. And it's not an LA2A. So dual analog flanger. This is the only one that has a prayer of being actually like interesting within its sector, right?
I agree.
And we haven't determined if it is yet, but like that's something where, dual, flanger, okay, whatever. You start doing other things, dual analog flanger. Well, now we can make some sounds. We could probably make some of those weird things where they cancel occasionally and the waveforms are in the wrong spot and all this other kind of strange stuff, right? We could get there. But the other thing, and then the other like opto compressor. So what I see is a new pedal brand coming onto the market. They don't have the basics. They didn't enter the market with a drive, what are the other things you need? A delay, a reverb,
a boost, or whatever.
What do you need? Yeah, like they don't have the toolbox, and so instead they went for an opto compressor, probably. At least number 8 or 10 on the list of, and now I need one of these as I'm building a pedal board.
I don't ever use a compressor on a pedal board. I sometimes use one on Helix. Sometimes, not always.
Yeah. I mean, you should probably if you're playing like country Western music,
if I need to, like the one time I played guitar in Footloose, I used a compressor, but I didn't, I don't
so there
use
are
one.
Huge swaths of the guitar playing population that actually a compressor is a standard weapon for them.
Oh, totally, totally.
But it is not in the first, 5 or something like that.
I don't think it is either.
But PRS is like, so I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know where I'm talking myself with this. Did they intentionally go off typical in order to not be what I'm describing? Like in order to not be the toolbox?
Maybe. I don't know. And that's fine, I guess. Like PRS is a luxury brand of guitar stuff.
Yeah.
They make expensive gear. They make expensive pedals. This Wind Through the Trees dual analog flanger, name too long to put it on a pedal, is $350.
I don't know, man.
That's a lot of money. And it sounds good. Like that's the thing. No,
of course it does.
Does it matter?
Like whatever.
Does it matter? Like this is the thing we were talking about with Alex last week. Does it matter that it sounds good? Of course it fucking sounds good. Like it's not even worth having that conversation anymore because
you have to go so far down into the barrel before you get to something that doesn't. You have to go to those like $20 Amazon pedals before you're actually legitimately questioning if this is good enough to use.
Right. And of course, like the horse meat sounds really good. No shit, it sounds really good. You can't, like you're saying, you can't throw a rock and not hit an overdrive. That sounds really good.
Didn't you know it was going to sound good when you saw it was called horse meat? Come on.
Didn't you know it was going to sound good when PRS put out an overdrive pedal? Like you don't even need to know anything about it. That's the thing. Like any of the stuff that comes out these days, it's like, well, great. So the Wind Through the Trees, though, this dual analog flanger has the two LFOs, and then you can mix between the two in a very cool way. And you can change the dry wet, which is also great. So like that right there, feature rich enough and I think unique and cool enough that this pedal doesn't feel like bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
At $350, it feels like bullshit because I don't know who needs a $349 flanger. But
Yeah. So what do you think? Like
That's just me.
aspirational pricing, is that like it has to be that price because it's PRS?
I think partly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It does sound really good.
Kinda do.
I listened to like that pedal show had Paul on, and they very thoroughly went through all of this stuff. And this flanger does sound awesome. It solves a lot of the problems that a lot of flangers have. But I don't know. This is just me. Flanger isn't a huge part of my sound.
So wait, I want to know about that. What problems do flangers have?
Oh, just
Tell
just
me. Because I'm being serious. Like I don't get flangers.
In the way that they were explaining it, go watch that pedal show episode if you want to hear more about this. But like they talked about the transients in relation to like when the flanger is where it is in its sweep can kind of mess with the transients. And this, because of this added highs knob and some other things, it allows the attack of the guitar to come through in a way that feels way more natural. And which I would agree with. Like it sounds really good. And so on some flangers, I've owned a few over the years, it does kind of like you could hit it and it's all lows suddenly. Like it could just be all like whoosh, like it could be in the deep of that sweep and you're screwed. It just disappears. So this helps. So
I would have solved that with by mixing it out. You know, I'd be like, but if it's subtle enough, then you escape that or something. You know,
but the Boss BF2 or the TC Vortex, like those don't have mix knobs. The Vortex might. Now that I don't actually know, I haven't owned it in years, but the Boss ones don't.
So you can see that being a deficiency.
Yep, and this has 2 LFOs, so you can get like a Leslie type of thing where like the drum is spinning faster or slower than the horn if you want it. Like that sort of stuff is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You can't change between those speeds, but they will cancel each other out and do some cool stuff. So it sounds like it's a really good sounding flanger. So yes, sounds great. $350? I wouldn't buy it. But that's not because flanger is not a major part of my sound. That's the only reason. If I was like flanger all day, every day, then yeah, maybe it'd be on my list.
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of niche effects that I don't know. I don't know if flanger is ever anyone's real like always on type of sound.
Yeah.
So commanding that much money for it for like a sometimes effect is asking a lot.
I mean, if I don't know. I feel like any pedal in that range, it almost doesn't matter what it is. It has to have something in it. It has to have something in it that justifies actual equipment inside it. Like if it actually contains stuff that costs this much, which we know flangers don't.
Or if it was fucking stereo.
Well, but that's the thing. Like then we have to actually start adding things like it has to have stereo. It has to have it has to be digital and have recallable settings. It has to be able to chase tempos and things like that, or expression. And this is clearly just mono in and out, nothing else. It doesn't have the extra features that set it apart from any flanger as long as it has a mix. I mean, well, whatever. I guess they're doing something. It's not just the same as the Boss flanger. But
no, it is different. And it's also like the price, it's made in the US, like all this stuff is US made. So then there's that. And then they are through hole component. So there's added cost there. But
instead of SMDs, you mean?
Yeah.
So instead of surface mounts? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's not better. You know?
No, it's not. I'm not saying it is. It's just one of those things
to be,
like,
but it's not.
It's they push it out there in the marketing materials, like, and these ones are through hole.
Right. It's like the Vox like hand wired series versus the regular. Like the only thing you're possibly doing there is some of them, the hand wired probably have more self noise at the end of the day, if there's a difference at all. And if they're being careful, there's probably not a difference. So
yeah. So anyway,
I mean, nothing against hand wired stuff. It's just don't do it because you think it's better.
Because it's not objectively better.
Objectively not better. It's objectively just something that's totally different. But anyway.
So I asked how much a Mobius was from Strymon. It's $450. It is like one of the leading.
They've got all the features.
Yeah, it's one of the leading modulation boxes on the market, if not the leading one. And it's stereo, it's MIDI, it's everything. You know, it is a flanger and so much more. Does it have a dual analog with mixable LFOs? I don't know. I don't have it. Probably not. But still, like you get into that thing of how important is that to your sound?
Why we come to this with the what I guess is the middle priced section of the market. Right? If it's cheap, it's like, hell yeah. And if it's expensive, but it has limitless features, it has everything like a Strymon does, it's like, well, that's Strymon. You know what I mean? It's justified.
Yeah, you're paying for that big premium.
Then there's the middle. And it's like how I felt about the UAD pedals. Like they have to price themselves up because it's a luxury brand. But it actually doesn't have the features necessarily to justify that. Like I'm sure it sounds great, but it doesn't really have the features to justify it compared to other things. It's like, once again, let's compare everything to an HX Stomp. You know, compare fucking everything to an HX Stomp. If you are 75% of the cost of an HX Stomp and you do 2% of what it does, you know, are you in the bad spot in the price curve, right? You need to get way under there to be like, well, buy me instead of an HX Stomp because what you really want is a flanger. Or
and like you don't go buy an HX Stomp because you want a flanger, but like I don't think
But if you're sitting there and you're going, okay, look,
you could make this in Helix though. Like you could make this thing.
Right, exactly.
With,
so
you
if
use
I'm
two
looking
flangers.
at this and PRS is like, here's our pedals. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy the lot for like $700 or whatever it is. Or, you know, like, why would I? Explain that to me. Why is this? There's no way that.
The thing, like, this is like a cool circuit design.
My song isn't better. Yeah, like no matter how good any pedal is, my song actually isn't better between the difference of the greatest flanger in the universe versus the flanger that's in an HX Stomp. My song isn't better.
Say that louder for the people in the back, right? Like it's true. And this is the thing we all dance around like, oh, gear doesn't make you a better guitarist. Like, obviously we know. Yeah. Yes, I believe in things like it can inspire you to play more or play differently or play better, whatever. There is a glass ceiling to that though. And the same is true for, doesn't mean you're a good songwriter. You could write shit songs. Not to mention
You probably do. Yeah, talking to you.
Probably do. Or you play covers, or you don't get recorded, or like whatever. Like, yes, you can make all of the tonal decisions you want, and it might sound like fucking magnificent in the room, but that's not the end of the equation, right? Like, if you are caring so much about your tone and your sound and all this stuff at that level, why end there, right? You need to pay. You should be in the best recording studios. You should be getting the best mixing and mastering and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. There's not that end game. So,
and I agree with you, but now I'm listening to you talk, and now I'm realizing how we sound though when we start talking like this. Because like,
oh, I know.
Obviously, you're allowed to buy this if you want. Like, it's just. I don't know. I think we have a point about the middle price range thing. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that you can't chase this. You can't chase the 5%. That's the thing. I think of it sometimes. It's like the last 5% costs 1,000% of the price. You know what I mean? Like that's the price difference to get that very last few percent. But if every single step of the way, we don't care about the last 5%, you know, or if we take that a step further and we don't care about the last 10%, then that compounds. And so then we get to the end and suddenly it's, if I have 5 stages in some process in my guitar rig and recording chain or whatever, and each time I chose the 80% as good version, then I end up with something that's half as good as somebody who chose the 90% as good version all the way down. So it can compound, but I don't know. I don't think that invalidates what we're saying about this middle price range. I think it's brand identity. And I think it's weird to think that PRS's pedals, which just came out, are gonna have that brand identity. So is this like a long game thing? I do a lot of thinking out loud on this podcast.
That's okay. But I think this is the thing I've said for so long. When these pedals came out and it's like from PRS, like, okay, you're in the market now. Great. Like, welcome to a super saturated, overdeveloped space.
Yeah.
You know, and like again, go listen to the episode to 225 with Alex at Copper Sound. And we talked a bit about how do you make something that stands out in the market, and like, how do you not just add more pedals to the pile of pedals? Horsemeat's in that pile. I don't give a shit. Like, it sounds really good, but so does Foxcatcher.
Yeah.
And so does...
Well, and it's totally different for a brand like PRS versus Copper Sound, too. Like, he has, in a sense, like, he has a luxury to be able to think like that. Whereas they probably, if they did something weird, if they did something that wasn't the typical pedal, everybody would go, what the fuck is PRS doing? Right?
Oh, of course.
I like to think I probably wouldn't, but at the same time, it would be like, why aren't they doing something that's more typical, that's more general, because they're a big brand?
It would get them attention, but in a different way. Like, it would, we'd still probably be talking about it, but it'd be like, what the fuck are they thinking? Why didn't they just release an overdrive? And which is what they did, but it's $250 and it sounds just like every other $250 overdrive. Obviously, it's not exactly the same, but I don't know. I challenge you to really find the nuance and the difference between a lot of this high-end gear stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
we're
splitting the hairs like of the horse. So fine.
We're slicing that meat so thin. Like,
it was funny in the interview. He said, like, people think I'm putting horses in one side and pedals are coming out the other. I just like love the visual of a factory with like horses on a conveyor belt going in one side and overdrives coming out the other,
and grinding them up. Okay, so if you're a person who has they have like an amp brand, right? And it's like a Marshall is my sound or Vox is my sound or something like that. There's a certain room where that's okay, where it's like, yes, you're right. Like, the Vox is the sound for you for this whole thing, but it's not too many steps back from that, where if they're in a room and it's like, well, the only amp here, like the amp on stage here is a Marshall, it's not like you can't play guitar and sound like you.
Yeah, what are you not going to play? Yeah. Right.
So there's that too. It's like the dumb horse meat thing. It's an overdrive just like all the other overdrives. Well, but there, I don't know. I'm like losing my train of thought here, but it's like,
I know.
I want to attack it almost from both sides. Like, at first I was like, what are they doing? And then I kind of realized, well, actually, these aren't the typical toolbox pedals that would be the first three. Except one of them is an overdrive, but I mean, could they really get away with not releasing an overdrive? Maybe it would have been better. Maybe if it was like a compressor and then two kind of more effecty things, right? Like a flange and
other
reverb.
time-based stuff. Yeah.
And it would be like, well, they didn't post an overdrive, so they're not trying to be everything to everybody. So maybe this has the word overdrive on it, and so that's tilting me, and I'm thinking, well, they're trying to be everything to everybody, so why the fuck is this compressor here? It's like they can't have it both ways.
I can picture Paul saying, we didn't make an overdrive because there's a million great overdrives out there. That is totally something he would say. Yeah. And I would believe him. And I don't know, it's just, I don't know. I'm kind of losing my own narrative here, but it's still...
It goes in circles. Because I think we were against these pedals, but at the same time, we're not. Like, and we keep chasing ourselves in circles about it, because like, except the price, man. I keep coming back to that.
The price is a deal breaker for me.
The price is tough, man.
It's I don't know. Not even PRS.
The name horse meat still doesn't fit the branding. I stand by that.
No, it doesn't. And PRS did not put this much thought into any of this shit the way we are right now. Like, they put in thought into like how they sound and how they work, right? The stuff they should care about.
This was a 5-minute boardroom meeting. It was a presentation. Here's what we came up with.
That was called Horse Meat. It's already in production.
Horse Meat. It's a joke about the Klon. Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Fire away. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Sometimes I have these like guitarist existential thoughts and issues that are like,
yeah,
the king of that thought process is the audience will never know, right? And what are you doing this for, right? And all of that kind of space of it doesn't really make you sound any different. And it's why I've kind of changed some of my thought around how I build pedal boards for myself. Is like I need a drive, a boost, like a loud box, a louder box, and a wiggly button and a spacey wacy button, and like that's it, right? So like, do you think, the Soul Food comes out, it's a $65 Klon or whatever, it's $79 Klon. You think some clown in the audience who's not a guitarist is going to be like, I don't know about that Klon tone. Like, this is only for us. You know what I mean? And who the hell, why do we care so much?
Nobody can until they compare it. Nobody ever can. Until they compare it, because anyway, yeah. So that
this is what I mean, like the guitar economy, not the economy, but like the subtlety and nuance that we're all like fussing over all the time has gotten so minuscule.
Yeah.
And I just care about it less and less. Like every time something comes out.
We rant about that last few percent a lot. The times in my life when I've had that last few percent thing, that sways the argument. It like, because it becomes part of the compounded value throughout. Mm-hmm. Like, because I have had the pedal board that had a bunch of stuff on it, and then I realized that I almost never turn on this reverb pedal, and if I take it out of my chain, I can hear the difference in my generalized tone. So I just got back 4 or 5% by taking that out. And that doesn't matter to the audience, but I still was absolutely sure it was the right thing to do, because it's, I don't know, I mean, it's like the increasing the value of every note I played. And if I made a recording with it, everything was, 4% better or something, which isn't a lot on its own, but
and then the adjacent argument to that is like, then you as the player feels more confident, right? You love how your stuff sounds. You feel good playing. You play more into it. You're just like that is quantifiable to a degree, and that does matter.
Well, we know it exists. I think it's actually not quantifiable, but we know it exists.
Okay.
We just can't quantify it, is what you meant, right? Like it's
sure.
like. Yeah. I mean,
qualifiable, I guess you should say. Yeah. So like sure. you as the player can like feel that in the moment. Like how many times were we at band practice? You're like, fuck, my shit sounds great today. And it could just be like,
my shit's banging.
Whatever.
The humidity
nothing
is
happened.
Awesome.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah. It's both tangible and not.
I don't know. I think it's just funny that
I'm getting these off my screen.
Yeah.
I don't care about this anymore.
I
don't know. This was another one where I chased myself in a big circle about it, though.
That's fine. And I think that means it was a good conversation.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just wish I didn't care so much about. I think I care too much. That's my biggest flaw. My biggest weakness is I care too much. I can't listen to
American Idol because I have perfect pitch.
Right, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like I do kind of wish I didn't care so much about this stuff, and it's forcing me to not care in a different way. That like the new stuff on the market, like or Sam in the back, cross my arms, show me what you got, punk. Like give me the good shit, and I just feel so burnt out and jaded. And I've said that 1,000 times, but go buy the horse meat. I don't care. It sounds fucking awesome. Like that's the thing. Doesn't matter. It sounds really good. I'm not here to say it sounds bad.
The Klon thing though is about the reason that it probably stands out from something like a Soul Food is the basis of it wasn't even necessarily the overdrive, it was the buffer. And if you build a cheap version of it, which I'm sure PRS didn't do, then you miss out on what probably is the actual killer feature of the Klon. It has nothing to do with its drive stage at all. It was like a leave always on pedal, right? I don't know if it was.
The Klon, yeah, right. And it being buffered is kind of a big deal for that circuit. I'm just looking now. Yeah, so the horse meat is true bypass. So fuck you, Klon.
What are we supposed to do with that? All right, let's leave it on that one.
And with that, my whole argument has become invalid.
All right. Cloney baloney. Let's talk things of the week and get out of here.
You know, I kept forgetting to put that in the notes.
It's
and
fine.
I have a few that I've been meaning to drop in here.
Okay. I have one that I
hit me with a sound.
Oh my God, a sound? All right. Here's one.
Wicked. Little palate cleanser.
Yeah.
I want to know, Justin, do you want to hear about an album, or do you want to hear about a piece of like I don't want to call it like a piece of gear that's not guitar gear?
Well, I'm gonna do a band / album. So maybe you should do the other thing.
Okay. I'm gonna talk about my belt.
All right.
Let me take it off. I have this belt. I think I actually oops, what have I done? Just like changed my cameras around in a weird way. I think Eric might have the same belt. Because I was like, bro, you got to check out this belt. He's
freaking out over there.
Yeah. Okay. I have been on the hunt for a universal fit belt for a long time because leather belts stretch, or the holes stretch out, or like you lose weight or gain weight and it doesn't really work out anymore. So I had some ratchet design belts for a while. They wear out too. I found this brand. This is a Groove Life belt, and I have it here.
Yeah.
And it's got these, I don't know if you can see this super well, but there's on the back
it's like
of the buckle. These are teeth, actually.
Okay.
So they stick out. And then on the other side of the buckle is a spot for those teeth to sit in, and a very strong magnet. And so as a result, the belt makes this cool sound, and it's very satisfying. And it just like fits together perfectly, and the whole belt is like really tight elastic, so it's stretchy. And you ever wake up and you're just like, you're kind of having a fat day, or like you're kind of like your pants they went through the dryer a little hot, and then they're a little snug like the next day.
It's anytime you wash your pants, you got like 6 hours of wiggling,
like working
until
them back
they get
out,
back to the right size. Yeah.
So this accounts for all of that, and I just fucking love it. Like my goal with this stuff, like I never want to buy a wallet again. I never want to buy a belt again. I never want to buy that stuff ever again.
Like, I'm a grown ass man.
Yeah. I hate having to find like a wallet or a belt that I like, because then you just go through a bunch of shit, and you're never really that. And when you have a belt that like sucks, it sucks. And I wear a belt every day.
So what's this? So the sizing here, we're picking size ranges. So how does the fine sizing work on this guy?
So it is adjustable. No BS.
Trying to find an image that sort of showed it, but I guess I can't.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can really see it here, but it is it loops through the buckle, and you can adjust it. So I've got about a foot.
Oh, there's the excess I see now. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But then it's like pretty rigid. So it doesn't flop around, and it loops through the buckle and then back over again. So there's no part where it doubles up over, and then it stays like there's a little
very flat
on the belt, and it stays very, very flat. And it works amazingly well. It's always like the perfect length, and there's no excess flapping around. Like on a traditional leather belt, like you would tuck the rest of it into, like you'd go past the button on your pants and then over to the other side. And if you're not all the way to the next belt loop, then you got extra belt kind of flinging around, and that's annoying. This eliminates that too. And listen to this. Oh, what a sound, Every morning I put this thing on, and it's like ka-chunk, and it sounds so good. It's great. I love it.
Nice.
Groove belt from Groove Life. Check it out.
What does double up mean? Oh, I'm saving by purchasing 2 belts.
Honestly, I've had it for, it must be a year or more now, and it's not showing any signs of wear. That's like concerning. Yeah. Obviously, like there's some spots, but it's really great. The closing mechanism is super solid, and I'm so happy with it.
So this is black. I guess it comes in.
I have the gray one. Yeah, I have like the dark gray belt with a lighter gray buckle. There's a bunch of different. You can get a tactical one.
So you'd be able to get them that because sometimes you need a brown belt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can get that.
So you can get what you need to get.
Yeah, and the buckle is just a plain flat metal. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's not flashy. I still have like a belt that I wear for like when I have to put a suit on. That's not this, but
oh well, come on, fuck.
It's not my tactical belt, my tactical suit.
When I'm tacting.
Tacticalizing.
When I'm yep, for the Anyway, sweet, nice belt.
Yeah, I know it's a weird pull, but I gotta say,
some of that old tech, that leather old tech. I'm
just saying,
I guess it does stretch out eventually. I don't know.
Yeah, and it may not stretch out for 10 years, but in 10 years, I'm gonna be like, fuck this belt.
I really only wear belts when I have jeans on. All my shorts don't need a belt, so
I feel weird with that one.
I just don't put that much use onto them in the 3/4 of the year because I'm so warm-blooded. Anyway, yeah.
Belt gang.
Cool. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to come at you guys with there we go. I'm going to come at you guys with a band. So this is not a new band. But I just learned about them. And their new album is kind of different. Okay, so the band is called Unprocessed. I know you can't read that. But it's called Unprocessed. They're from Germany.
That guy. I know that guy.
You know that guy?
Yeah. What is his name? I can't remember his name.
If I know.
He's
from
all
some
over,
German band called Unprocessed.
He's all over YouTube. Like he's a guitar YouTube guy.
Yeah.
I see him and he plays in a really crazy way.
Yes. So Unprocessed was a tech metal band.
Yeah, like Polyphia.
For 4 albums. And it's really quite good for that, which I do like. But I actually hadn't heard of the band until just actually a couple of weeks ago now. Like the Apple New Music thing was like, hey, check this out. So as we get further into their career, and especially this album from 2022, the metal aspect of the music is getting turned down. It's getting ratcheted down. I feel like the gain has been coming down for a while. The super intense metal aspect of the music has been coming down, but the tech is not going away. And what I have here with this album is called Gold, and you got to check it out. There's, this is all merch and stuff. I don't need to show that. Anyway, it's Mario Luigi. That's not right. That's not correct. That's not that man's name. So this album, what struck me about this is I didn't know anything about this. I'm just listening to this mix, right? And so this song comes on and it's very technical, but I can't quite tell if the part I'm hearing is being played on a guitar or a bass, which happens at several points in this album now that I've listened to it all several times. Often there are what would be metal riffs, but they're essentially being played with a clean tone, and the drums are convincing you that it's heavy, and it works.
Yes, and it's like the 4 position on a Strat.
Yeah, it's very deep. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes I think really it is a guitar, but it sort of sounds like a bass. Sometimes I think it's a bass, but boy, it must be like a 6-string or something. And they're intertwined, and there's also sort of a pop music sensibility to it. The vocal production on this album is very pop, and the whole thing melds in this way where I don't know what genre this is in anymore. And I went and listened to their other albums, and it's that's definitely like a tech metal kind of thing. But I think there's sort of something for everybody here. There's several songs on here where they're going to run the gamut. They're going to have something that's very whispery and almost ethereal, long stretches of it. But a lot of fast fingers in there, and there's a lot to love.
I see in their oh shoot, where did it go? Unprocessed. I see in their roster they have a track with Tim Henson from Polyphia, and I'm wondering, like, are you up on Polyphia / Tim Henson? Okay,
I'm not.
I'm curious about your take on that stuff. So go.
Is it
go
from
forth
this album?
No. Polyphia is a band.
No, I mean, is the song with?
Oh, no. I think it looks like a single. Yeah, it looks like it's just a single that was released.
No worries.
But anyway,
yeah, it's really cool. I'm listening to a lot from them now. But
yeah. If I'm understanding this correctly, and it's what I think it sounds like Polyphia may not be a far leap to make, but I'm curious about your interpretation of what they're doing. So yeah.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah. Let's see. What should I should pick, like,
I'm going to put it in the chat just so we can all spell
I want to pick a track. Portrait, I think. Is if I was going to send you one song to check first from this album.
All right, I'll listen to it tomorrow.
Yeah, Portrait. That's what I would point you to. I think it's pretty cool.
I really want to share my music recommendation, but I should say that.
All right.
I'll give it to you in the after show and then put it in a podcast episode in the future.
All right. Well, in that case, this was a fun, meandering bit of nonsense through the worlds of our heads as we think live about whatever nonsense happens to float across my desk, so to speak. Thank you for joining me on this journey episode. No, we're not calling them episodes anymore. They're journeys. On this particular journey of the tone control, we saw something obvious and great and cheap. And we saw something not so obvious and questionable and not cheap. And thank you for coming on this journey with us. If
sounds like a double flanger. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. Join us on Discord, discord.io/tone control. If you want to support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/the tone control. And we appreciate it very much. You get your name in the show. And for depending on how much money you feel like this is worth of your support, there are some other perks there as well, including behind the scenes stuff, extra, what do we call it? Hangouts. We're going to do a hangout on Thursday,
which is a hangout
guys.
This Thursday at noon if you're in the club.
By the time this episode comes out into your podcast feeds, it will have happened on the previous Thursday. But we're trying to get this going, and we think it'll be fun. In my wildest dreams, they turn into something that's fun that I can record, and it would sort of be extra episodes for the patrons. So that's the idea. And it would just be hangouts that isn't just us prattling on. So we'll see how it goes.
Matt in the chat says this was worth at least $1. So I think you take that and run with it.
Yeah. And by the way, actually, each buck, if that was the level of support that you chose, which is totally acceptable and we are grateful for it, that is actually 2 episodes worth. Because we release about 2 episodes a month, and Patreon is monthly. So anyway, $2. Well, the point is you can pay as little as 50 cents an episode, and you will be helping us make the show and do other things, because we actually don't pocket any of that anyway. And we haven't talked about that in a couple of episodes, but really we just end up banking all this and then trying to give something back in the form of giveaways and stuff like that. So anyway.
Yep.
So that's it. We're going to thank our patrons this week, which are Nick Greenwood, Carson Ricketts, Matthew Fenslaw, Ryzen Wolf, Jamie Evans, Doug King, Big Daddy Doug, Righteous Ryan Johnson, Steve Huffman, Jonas Sabatini, an easy name for Justin, Brian Gower of the Tone Jerks podcast, Mako Guitars, Andrew Welsh of Andrew's Alcove, Doug Christ of 37 Effects, Sean Wright of Lollygagger Effects. And that's going to do it. We will see you next time. And I forgot to start my music in the background.
I was going to say.
So now that's it. It's just
now we can talk for a little.
We can hang out a little bit. So, Derek, what was your favorite part of this episode? I mean, journey.
I think Ragged on Horse Meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fucking stupid name.
It's a fucking stupid name. I think I get more and more frustrated with how I can't really articulate what I'm feeling about this whole problem that I feel with guitar and pedals and shit. But I feel like I'm getting closer every time we bring it up.
Part of that problem. I just don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know how exactly, but I know they're in there somehow. So,
all right. Well, see you next time.
See you next time, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.